Hello, my name is Roger Bush and I'm the Dean of Truro. And wherever you are watching this, can I wish you all a very happy Easter. I'm going to offer a short reflection for this Easter day. And when I finish, we will have a recording of an anthem sung by one of our girl choristers, Helena Paish, which was recorded last autumn during a rehearsal session. And when it starts, I hope you'll see that it's a very appropriate anthem for this Easter day in particular. Anything I say now, of course, has to be placed in the context of where we are as a nation and as a world at this current time. Normally for Easter Day, we would gather in our churches and in our cathedrals and celebrate the feast with colour, music, and with great gusto. We are the Easter people, and Alleluia is our song. But this year, the gatherings are not taking place, and the songs are muted. In a concerted effort to staunch the spread of coronavirus, we are in our homes, turning the celebration of Easter into a quieter, more family affair. And that is how it must be for the time being. Our wonderful health service and care workers are battling to save lives and care for the most vulnerable in our society. And any sadness we may feel at not going to church has to be placed in this wider context. This doesn't mean, however, that somehow the significance of Easter is reduced or privatised. In fact, I think its significance is heightened because of this. And to help us see why, let us hear what happened on that first Easter morning according to John's Gospel. And if you want to pause the video to find the passage, please do so. It's John chapter 20, verse 11.
Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head and the other at the feet. They said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there. But she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Do not hold on to me, because I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and she told them that he had said these things to her.
Noli me tangere, do not hold on to me. This is what Jesus says. And if ever we need a metaphor for our times, this surely is it. Much about this encounter is beautiful, restrained, and personal. Mary only realizes who Jesus is when he calls her by name. But at that moment of recognition, when you can almost feel Mary reaching out to embrace him, Jesus keeps his distance. Things are not quite ready for the complete exchange. Instead, we have the intimacy of the moment and an assurance of future fulfillment. How much this is reflected in the world today. We have to keep our distance. We can't embrace people. Everything is in a state of unfulfillment. all we can do is to share moments of kindness. Whether by a phone call, voluntary help, or simply keeping people in your prayers, you are showing your willingness not to stay without hope outside the empty tomb, but rather are willing to encounter Jesus, the risen Jesus, with these small but nonetheless real indicators of resurrection life. And it is no mistake that Mary's encounter with Jesus happens in a garden. Not in a building, not in an overtly religious place at all, but in a space where nature and humanity are inextricably linked, where the rhythms of creation and the creative impulse of people come together. The Garden of Eden has its resurrection counterpoint in the garden where Jesus meets Mary. We're expelled from the Garden of Eden because of our loss of innocence. We are welcomed into this garden because our guilt, our responsibility for the way that we have marred God's image in the world around us, is forgiven by a loving God who was, it should be remembered, mistaken for being a gardener, the one who tends and who nurtures creation. This is not so much a misnomer as we might think. We live amid so much beauty. Would that we had eyes to see it. One of the things that many people have said to me during the current lockdown is that they're noticing the budding trees and the bird song far more than usual. That was the experience of the residents of Wuhan, where coronavirus first burst onto the scene. If we too, amidst the anxieties and the demands of our present crisis, have a heightened sense of the budding and the bird song, then something of the resurrection will break through our routines and busyness. And as a churchman, I'm just as much prone to these stifling habits as anyone else. The dead seed bursts into new life, new creation, which is what the resurrection is all about. No, we cannot do what we normally do this Easter. We cannot go to church. But instead we can do something as, if not more important. We can meet the gardener, the risen Jesus, in the gardens of our hearts and minds, so that he may cultivate us to become signs and symbols of his new creation. And in the simple acts of kindness that we do, we are seeds of future glory. May God bless our health workers and our care workers and everyone else serving the global community at this time. May God bless those making key decisions about our common life at the moment. And may God bless you and all whom you care and for whom you have love this Easter day and always.